So today we're marking out a football pitch here at Lackham College. We've already started the first line, so we've got a rugby pitch, so we're going to square off the rugby goals. So we're going to come in 5 meters on each end, so it'll bring us to a 90-meter pitch. And then what we're going for on the width is 64, so we'll have 32 from each centre outwards to each corner. So we'll do the 3-4-5 method in the corner in a second. But because we know the pitch is square in this situation, we're going to use the 2 rugby posts this time, this side and 5 meters off, and do the same touch line down the far end, and then we can pretty much join up the dots with the 2 sidelines, and then just make sure that the square with the 3-4-5 method that we're going to use in a second. In terms of equipment, what we've got for marking out, we've got a tape measure, we've got a string with 2 pins we can use to put the string in, we've got some paint in the tub. With a paintbrush for the dashes, you can use a aerosol can instead if you want, but that's just what we've got with us. Obviously got a line marker, we've got some paint that's been pre-mixed, and we've got a watering can with us as well. All nozzle and everything else is already set up in the machine, so we don't need to worry about that in too much detail, but this is all that we're going to be using today to mark the pitch out from scratch. So you can see I've stopped here. What I've already done is marked out 32 meters from the center of the pitch over there. So we know that this side's 32, I've done 32 the other side as well. So we've got a 64 meter wide pitch, and then we've got 90 going on the length there. Well, I was working my way along as well. I've done the dashes for the 6-yard box. So that is 6.4 out from the center of the goal, and then the 18-yard box, which is 17.4 meters as well from the center of the goal. So I've done that on both sides of the goal, so when I go down the other end, I'll measure the other end as well, and then I can string all the way up the pitch and know exactly where those lines are, as long as I've squared off this corner, which we'll show you in a second, down the touch line. But because I'm doing the far goal off the rugby post as well, we shouldn't have to worry too much about the square of the pitch. We should be pretty bang on, but we can make any adjustments once I put that string in down the far end, and then come and tackle the 3-4-5 in the corner to see exactly if we've got the pitch square. So now I'm just gathering all my tools up from this end, so I've just brought my string in. I've got myself a bit of paint in a tub, which I'm using the dash out with. You can use an aerosol or anything like that. So I'm just going to stick that on the marker as well. Just got a bog standard marker, ready mixed paint, or you can mix it up yourself. Pretty straightforward. Nozzle, making sure all that's clean and all checked as well. Pre-start checks we've already done with the machine, so we don't have to worry about anything like that. Can gather this in now. Don't need this at the moment, so well we do, but we're going to take it down the far end, so it's a bit easier for us if we wind it in. Got this nice fancy winder, we might as well make the most of it. You don't always get good stuff like this. So that's all that wound in. We'll head down the opposite end of the pitch now and go again. So what I've done here is I've measured 5 meters off the post and made this marking just here where I've put the pin. I've also measured 5 meters off this post, made a mark in here. I've measured across to ensure that the distance is correct, and then what I've done, like I'll mention in the next part, is I've done the 3-4-5 just to ensure that the corner is square. So 3-4-5, yep, all good. We're square on both sides, so I know that these markings that I've put in are square off this rugby post. Now if you're marking a pitch out from scratch, you wouldn't have to worry about that. You just find where you want your first line and then you do your 3-4-5 off that. But because we want it perfectly within this rugby pitch, it's going to be 90 meters long because we're 5 meters in off each post, which is 100 meters. We know exactly where we need to be. So I'm going to string across this way now, all the way up there. I've put a pin in the ground so I can keep it nice and straight with the 2 markings that I've already done. I'll mark out that line with the marker. I'll bring the string in. I'll put the opposite end of the string back down that side, and then put the string all the way across the line that I've partly marked so I can work out the whole length of the line. And while I'm doing that as well, I'll go along and measure the distances for the 6-yard box, like I did the other end, the 18-yard box, and then the corner. So I want 6.4, 17.4, and then 32 going out from the center on each side. So that does mean I need to find the center as well. I'll put a little dash in the middle, so when I do the line for the middle and the center circle, the penalty spots and the center kick spot, I've got all 3 of those nicely lined up with a string down the middle of the pitch. So putting this pin in doesn't really matter too much as long as I get it the length of the pitch longer than I need it to be, basically. So I can see my pin in the distance, and I'll know because the wire will catch on it. So it's just there. You see as the wire has changed direction, the string, sorry. So I know that that's square when I pull it like that, and I can see the deviations when I move the line along. So what I'm going to do here is do the little string method with my waterproof gloves on. Put the pin through there, pull it nice and tight, and then I'm just going to pull this string tight now. I'll pull this nice and tight. Find that pin in the ground. There we go. No, I've hit it there. Happy days. Now the tighter that string is, the easier it is it's going to be to mark against it as well. And I'm marking on the inside of these markings because we are marking out a football pitch. So the full ball goes out of play when it has crossed the line, whereas obviously in rugby it might be a little bit different. You might find yourself in a situation like this where there's obviously quite a dip in the pitch. Because of the string line, what you can do there is just go along with another peg if you've got one. You can just ensure that the pitch, you keep the string nice and straight. Just go along with an additional peg. We've got a peg here. What we're going to do is just put that peg in the ground, making sure that we keep the string nice and taut still, and just hold it down like that. We can look down the line just to double check we haven't knocked it off at all, but we should be pretty good. So we're just coming back over, double checking that line down here. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to notch it under there and push it in ever so slightly, just so I don't catch on it when I come over it with the marker in a second. So I'm going to go grab the marker now and mark out that first part of the line. So we'll go over. Remember, I'm marking on the inside of the line because we're marking football. My string just has popped off there ever so slightly. Don't worry, that was water that splashed out of there. So get that back under there. You might just have to adjust it ever so slightly. You can check your squares and all of that business again. So we're just going to mark down this line now, and then I'll switch the line around so the end without the reels that end, and then we'll get the reel down that end, mark out as measurements again from the center, just for the 16-yard boxes and so on and so forth. So we found the center of the posts here. Ignore the shadow because the sun's slightly off behind us, but we found the center of the goal, should I say, for the football. So what we're going to do is take this tape measure and run it down this line, just so I can work out where I need to stop. So obviously I need 32 meters to marry up with the other side. Just move this out of the way for a second, just like that. Coming down here. It shouldn't be this far, but it's always worth just going further than you need to with the pins, just to ensure that you don't have to reset them. So we're 32 just there. So what I'm going to do now is run and grab my paint pot. I'm going to dash my 6-yard box, I'm going to dash my 18-yard box, and I'm going to dash that touch line so I know where to stop, and then do exactly the same down the other side. Here's my paint tool. It's just normal line marking paint, nothing special. You can use all sorts of stuff, but it's going to work its way all the way down here to 32 again. You see there, 32. So that's going to mark the edge end of our pitch right there. So we can leave that there. No, we'll take that back down with us actually, because we can use it to mark out the other side when we go back down there. It is quite a messy job. It's not ideal with a camera, but you get the point here, especially on your own. It's a big job marking out a single pitch, but this is the worst bit, squaring off. Once you manage to square off, everything else is pretty straightforward after that. Just ensuring when you do 6 yard boxes, again they are square, but as long as you've done the process right, you should be good. Just one line in. Just going to mark the rest of this line out. There's quite a lift in the line there, so what I can tend to do as well, as long as we don't alter it too much, because this isn't a FIFA pitch, so it doesn't really mean a lot, get it on the line and we can just walk along the line as well. We're not going to get too much paint on those boots, we should be okay. There's this 18 yard box. I'm going to let off that line now because we're at the dip. Now we're going into the next dip, but we pegged it so it's not so bad. And we're just looking for that end of the pitch, the 32 meters that we marked out just a moment ago. There he is. So we're just going to stop it there, give it a tap so we don't drip everywhere. Some line markers have got the little handle things on them so you can lift them up, but we don't have that pleasure today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the other end of the string there and use that line and string right the way back down it, all the way. We've taken that string out of that side, we're going to string all the way down the other side and just swap the string around. It just makes it a little bit easier for yourself, and then that's the hard work done. Don't forget to, when you're going along, to collect your pins, anything that you've used like there to start that line from going off. Oh, we got caught on something else now. Let's take this down there then. There's another pin in the line that we're aware of, a bit further down. Just go and grab that. So we're just bringing our string line back down the other side of the pitch now, for the second half of that goal line. Like I say, if you were just doing one goal line and not two, or you not squaring it off anything, you wouldn't have to worry too much about this process. We're going to measure out how far we need to go in a sec, but what we're going to do while we're here is just pull it as far across the pitch as we can, because you can see down the other end of the pitch, just about, you can probably just about make it out. They're already past the point of the touch line on the other side, so we're just going to do that method again with the string, looping it around, putting this pin through, and then this is probably the most important part, ensuring that we pull it not only tight but straight with the other line that we've already marked. And what we're going to do is go over and check it anyway. So now we're going to come back along this line and measure it back down here so we know where to stop, and then we can mark that, and we've got both the goal lines done then. We'll 3, 4, 5 in the corners just to ensure that they're square when we do the sidelines, and then everything else after that is pretty straightforward. So 6 yards, just measure out as far as you need to go, and then obviously a line at the top. 18 yards is the same, and then the final thing will be the circles, but I'll go over all of that last. So that is both of our goal lines marked out now. So what I'm going to do is fetch the string from the far end. I'm going to string goal line to goal line for the sideline. This should be 90 meters exactly. While I'm doing it, I can find the 45 meters for the middle. Give that a dash so I know exactly where the halfway line is going to be when I get around to that as well. So ticking a lot of boxes off here just by doing this, and then like I say, once I got that string in, we'll go over this 3-4-5 method in the corner here, just to ensure that the pitch is properly square. So I stringed out that line now, down that touch line. What I'm going to do here is the 3-4-5 method, just to ensure that this corner is square. So I take my tape measure, measure 3 out. I'll get my paintbrush as well so I can see where I'm at. So I'm going to go in meters. So 3. 4 from the same spot in the corner. And then what I can do is put this on this spot there. Perfect. Come out here and I'm bang on 5 meters there. So that's perfect. So that's exactly what I want. I know that this pitch is square. I'll do the same on the other side just to ensure exactly the same though. But what you can do is multiply this. So if you times this by 2, so 6 by 8 and then by 10 and keep multiplying it, so on and so forth, to get the same result with the square. But yeah, in principle 3-4-5 just multiplied, that's all. So I'm just going to measure out the 18-yard boxes now. So I'll whip up this line, put the string in the next line, sorry, measure out the 18-yard boxes, mark them out up to where I can, do the 6s, do the other 18, and then do the far touch line, and then we'll join back from there. A little job we can do while we're still in the corner here is to actually measure our corner quadrants. So got a tape measure again so we can bang that in the corner. Happy days. So you want 3 feet or just short of a meter, and then what we're doing is going along the arc here and just dashing it. And then what we can do then is follow that along with the line marking machine. Just get this tape in first. Now we've dashed that, it's all square, everyone's happy. So we'll get back on this corner. Obviously in an ideal world we wouldn't be running over the paint. If you do a meter, you come on the inside of it. If you're doing 3 feet, you go on the outside of it. Just like that. Perfect. And there's one corner quad done just there. Pitch is square. It's going to run right down this touch line now. So we just finished marking out the edge of the pitch. So we've done all around the edge. We've done the sticks on 6s and the sticks on the 18s as well on the halfway line. So now I'm doing the string down the middle. I'm going to measure out 11 meters for the penalty spot, and then I'm going to do the centre circle, the kickoff spot, and then the far penalty spot as well. So we're looking for 11 meters. We managed to get hold of an aerosol. Massive shouts to Simon from Fleet Line Markers for dropping that off for us. Just saved us an absolute pain with the paintbrush situation. But so penalty spot was there, so it should be the front of the penalty spot. So I'm just going to draw a little circle there. That's fine. It's probably bigger than it needs to be, but at least we've got one. That's the main thing. It's not like we're playing Premier League sports on it, so you're not going to lose any sleep really about the size of that penalty spot. So we're going to go do the centre circle. Then I'll show you exactly how we do that, and then we'll go and do the other penalty spot with the other end as well. So centre circle, same as the D's on the top of the boxes, is 9.15 meters. So that's 9.15. So when you're doing the D on the top of the box, I haven't done the line for the top of the box yet, but when you measure out from the back, or the side facing the penalty spot facing the goal, and we're then measuring the arc across the top, which should be 9.15, the same as the centre circle. And if you do your pitch properly, what should happen is your centre circle should also line up with your 6-yard boxes when you put a string line down the pitch. So that's normally how you know you pretty much bang on the money. So this is now doing the centre circle. Just ran up the pitch, so I'm out of breath. Put the pin in the right place this time. I had to move the string line because it wasn't quite right, and now we're all wrapped around it. Just double check that string line, we're all good. And give in the centre. Take that cap off because I don't need it right now. So we're after 9.15, sorry. So it's not the most accurate way of doing it. So go out a little bit because we're not quite there. There we go. It's not the most accurate way, but the easiest way is to just go along and just dash it just like this. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. And then you'll end up with a pattern just like that, running along. And then you go along with the marking machine in a second and we'll just fill in the gaps. We've done the top of one of the 6s, now we're doing the top of the 18. And then we'll do the D on one side, and then we're working his way home now. The pitch is nearly done. So we're just in the top of that box, already marked out there where we need to be. It's all nice and straight, we're happy. Hopefully you guys can see that. Just running along there. Being nice and quick, no major. Just needs to be relatively straight. I'm going to get the students on Monday to restring it. So this is more about getting some markings down more than anything. Obviously if we're working on a professional level pitch, or we've got an end client that's going to be using it, we want to ensure it's the best possible quality. You know, take us time, take a moment, just to ensure that we've marked it out well. So I always put my marker back on the line as well in case it drips or anything like that. Now we're going to do the D on the edge of the box, same process as the centre circle basically. Starting from the, see there, starting from the front of the penalty spot, coming out. We're after 9.15 meters again, same as the centre circle, 9.15. And the same process basically, just making sure that your string stays nice and your line stays nice and taut. I'll just move this camera up so you can see us a little bit better. Move that out of the way. You can see that. Just checking that it's nice and tight every few. Happy days. So that's that side done. This back on the marker, mark that one out. I've already done the centre circle, so just need to go over it with the marker machine and do the other end of the pitch. We've done the D's on the corners. We are winning, we're nearly there. Stick with me. We're marking out the centre circle now. Just this is those dashes that I've made. I'm just following them nicely along. See there, back to where I started. Just happy days. Just onto the last few lines here now. I've got top of this 18, top of the 6, and the D on top of the 18 as well. So got my string out ready. You know where I'm going to go. I'll come out a little bit, make my life a bit easier on the marking. Get all my kit. Step over the other side. I've already marked out the heights for the top of the D's. Same again. Loop round. Post this thing in. Pull her nice and tight. Make sure she's straight. Let's get that line marked. What you can do is just come to the middle, pick the string up, ping it, just to ensure it's straight, and then just go and stand down one side again, and then you can just make sure that your lines are right. So once we've done this, we're going to mark the D and the top of the 6, and then we can go and clean this machine out. Happy days. We've done videos before on cleaning machines, cleaning markers, so we're not going to go into too much detail on that one, because you can pretty much get the idea. If you're using a marker, I'd imagine you know how to wash it, but if you don't, there is a video for that. Let's get a string on the top of the D, top of the 6, sorry. This is the last straight line. Should be glad to hear. Going to take all my kit back. Car's over there as well, so I'm going to go wash everything and then walk back to the car before I can go. To be honest, might not even need to string this in some situations. You got a good enough line and you can see it. But we're going to string it today. There we go. The line marker. Do the top of this D as well as the last one, and then we're good. There's 2 reasons why you get back on yourself like this. One is obviously the pin's in the way that I've put in the ground. You can alleviate that if you put that pin behind you, a bit further back, sorry. Second though is so we're not actually ever driving over what we've already marked. So obviously we're going to transfer off the wheels to turf elsewhere, which is not obviously an ideal scenario. Whoop. Spray everything there. All part of the fun. And just gather that in. That's the last bit of spray painting. Gather all this material.